So the Cincinnati Bengals, one of the executives, Duke Tobin, is answering questions at the NFL Combine, and a question comes up regarding T. Higgins. Basically, do they expect to trade him? Do they want to let him go? Teams have been interested, and Duke Tobin pretty much refuted any notion of them trading T. Higgins. He's been there a long time. Director of player personnel. He said teams haven't presented any offers, and if they did, trading Higgins wasn't even a thought. He basically went on to say, if they want a receiver, go find your own. In my opinion, T. Higgins is a good piece for Cincinnati Bengals. The trade stuff is a little ridiculous right now. Now, let's kind of take a look at T. Higgins, which I think I know people are starting to catch on to him this year, but T. Higgins is and has been a dog. Um, since he's been in the league, he had 908 yards his first year, a thousand his second year, 1,000 his third year. So pretty much he's averaging 3,000. He's averaging 1,000 yards. He has 3,000 yards in 3 seasons. He has 19 touchdowns in 3 seasons. Every year, he's had over 67 receptions, 74 receptions, and 74, so 215 receptions. T. Higgins, who I personally believe, and people don't like this when I say this, I think that him and Jamar Chase are interchangeable. The big playability both there. I think that T. Higgins is slightly a better route runner. I do think Jamar Chase it has a bigger big play factor than him. But when it comes to catching the ball, when it comes to finding spots in the zone to where they're at, T. Higgins is interchangeable, and I think they understand that when you have T. Higgins as your X, or X or Z, and then Jamar Chase as your X or Z, this team is virtually unstoppable. You can line the guys up anywhere, they can play anywhere, and it makes it easier for Joe Burrow. If T. Higgins were to leave this team, it will expose Joe Burrow, right? And it could in a good way or a bad way, right? And because I'm an advocate for Joe, but in a good way or a bad way, it may expose him. But it will be completely absurd if the Bengals even think about shopping T. Higgins, because ever since Clemson, watch him and Justin Ross and Clemson dominate and make Trevor Lawrence the name who he is today. For them to shop T. Higgins would just be completely absurd. So he's a serious. We saw him burn Jalen Ramsey, but Zach Taylor actually commented, the head coach. He said he laughed off any chatter about the team dealing T. Higgins this season. He said that's why whenever you see the rumors floating around there, it's nonsense. Taylor said inside the Indiana Convention Center, at the end of the day, I do get to call the plays, and it's fun having playmakers out there you really don't want to give up. Now, Higgins represents $4 million cap hit for the Bengals in 2013 as they seek to figure out future nut players. They want to sign like players like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Pretty much we're looking for a contract this next offseason. So I think they'll find places elsewhere, but he's so important in that offense. I think something drastic will have to happen for them to really let go of T. Higgins. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Boyd, and Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow. I was going to say Joe Biden and Joe Budden, but those guys, that's the offense. And as long as you have those guys, you can figure things out and make things play. If you have some margin, if you have a front five that's marginal that can somewhat block, those guys can make up a lot of slack because they're getting man coverage. You have to shift the defense for them sometimes. I thought Kansas City did a great job of just playing man coverage with two high safeties with a little bit of a trail technique, forced them towards the safeties. I thought they did a great job with that, taking them to comebacks as they won that last game. And I actually have some film I'm going to go over that. But you don't get rid of T. Higgins. That's a big mistake. And I think that it is laughable that the big Bengals even think about it. Now, if next year they have the same result, they may move a guy to find a piece somewhere else. And next year they're going to have to come up with that decision if they're all playing at an exceptionally high level.